Hey guys, it's Robert Weinberg, and I'm here today with one of our local real estate experts. I've got Cameron Norfleet, and he's of Century 21 All Points Real Estate. He's been in the real estate game in Connecticut since 2008, and his specialty and his forte is in the multifamily and investment property niche. Works with a lot of investors and first time investors. So, we wanted to talk a little here today about the local market and the opportunity that we've got here in real estate. So the first thing I really want to discuss with you, Cameron, is can you talk a little about the local market here in Connecticut and the opportunity that you think a first-time or repeat investor might have?
Yeah, I think it is a great market for investors and the home buyers as well. I mean, we do have great interest rates right now, so I believe that's one reason why people should not just sit on the sidelines, and actually get yourself in the game if that's something that you've been thinking about doing, that's something that you've been planning on doing. I think that it's a great time. Don't wait. I think you should do it now.
And before the broadcast here, me and Cameron were talking about the opportunity in Connecticut versus other areas where we have a huge abundance of multifamily properties in Connecticut, whereas other areas of the country may not have that. And there are some specific points that you really want to stick with if it's your first time investing in real estate. And one of the main points is to invest in your local backyard. So everyone always asks, where should I be investing? Where is kind of that hot area that's the next up and coming? And as we were discussing, really on your first investment, you want to be investing in your local backyard. You want to start with the area that you're familiar with. So can you talk a little about that?
Absolutely. I feel like, especially if real estate investing is something that you want to get into, you should invest in your backyard. For one, it's something that you are familiar with. It's an area that you're familiar with, for one, and that's very important as it pertains to real estate. And two, you should manage. I feel that you should manage your first investment property, even your first few investment properties, just so that you can really understand what it is to invest or what it is to property manage on your own. That way, when you do get a little bit more advanced and you have more properties and so on and so forth, and you'll be in a position where as you're managing the manager, you'll know what they should be doing.
Yeah, and there's really two main areas that we had honed in on in the state of Connecticut that have the most multifamily opportunities, which are going to be New Haven County and Hartford County.
Right.
And what Cameron's found is that the inner city areas have the most abundance of the multifamily properties, which if you're looking to be a first-time real estate investor, that may be what you want to focus on. So those areas right in and around Hartford County and New Haven County are going to give you really the most opportunity to have the most amount of properties that you may want to look at.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, as a first-time investor, you may be looking at your situation and saying, well, I've got some money available. Should I put it as a down payment and use it for closing on a property? Or should I be putting it in something else? Maybe a business startup, maybe the stock market, maybe the bond market. Where should I be putting that money? And, it's both of our idea, and really we practice what we preach when it comes to saying that real estate investment has a lot of advantages that other types of investment opportunities aren't going to have.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the reasons why real estate investment is going to be the preferred method over some of the others, especially for a first-time investor. So can you talk a little about real estate investment versus these other vehicles?
So I do feel that people should invest in what they're familiar with, and like we had said prior to the video, pretty much everybody touches real estate in some way, shape, or form at some point in their life. Whether you're renting property or renting an apartment, or you're actually purchasing a home, or you have an office space such as this one, or what have you. Everyone touches real estate. So even if you feel like you don't know real estate, you do know something about real estate, and you probably know much more about real estate than you do traditional stocks and bonds and mutual funds and things of that nature. So I do believe that real estate is something that's great for the first time investor in general, because it's something that you're familiar with. There are definitely certain advantages that you have in real estate that you don't have in the stock market and so on and so forth, such as leverage.
Right, right. So we came up with really four main points that we'll talk about here of why real estate, especially when you're a new investor, why it's such a great place to start building out your wealth with a first piece of real estate. So number one is going to be that leverage, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. You can get in a multifamily property in most cases using a FHA or Federal Housing Administration loan with as little as a 3.5% down payment. Other types of mortgages and experienced real estate investors, they're going to need to put down 25% or more to get in the same property. That as a first time buyer, you have this advantage of being able to get in with that FHA loan if you're going to occupy that property, where you can live in one unit and you can rent the others out, which is a great way to start that real estate portfolio. And mortgage and the leverage of a mortgage is something that you don't have in any other investment vehicle. So that was number one. Number two is monthly income. So, stocks have dividends, typically quarterly, and, you do get payments from bonds annually or whatnot, but real estate is the one asset class where you get a consistent cash flow. Typically, you're going to get a monthly income based on rent. Can you kind of elaborate a little about why having that monthly cash flow is such an advantage versus having to wait all year or 3 or 4 months just to get your money?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, for one, when you have that monthly income, you have the opportunity to earn the interest on that monthly income. You take that money in, and you shouldn't go out and spend it for one. You want to reinvest it. What's coming in from your rental properties. But you put it away, and you can save up for more properties or what have you. I think that's definitely one huge advantage to having a monthly cash flow. Is the fact that you are receiving that income, and you can do with that income what you like.
Right, and that could include paying down your mortgage with that income, putting it in other investments, whether it's business opportunities or outside investments like stocks, bonds, and other types of investment vehicles, or just used for whatever you need. The sooner that money is in your hands, the sooner you have access to it, which kind of leads us to the third advantage, which is going to be control. Real estate gives you control when you own an asset directly like this that you don't have when you're investing in a stock of a company or in a bond somewhere. You don't have that control. So can you explain why having that control in the real estate is such a big advantage versus these other vehicles?
Well, yeah, I mean, if I own a stock in XYZ company may be out in California somewhere, and the CEO of that company may make some decisions that I don't quite agree with. You know what I mean? And that could devastate the company. Whereas when you own a real estate asset, and you are the CEO of that particular property, you make the decisions. You make the decisions that you feel are right for you, and that you feel that are right for your company, and so on and so forth. That's a huge advantage, is the fact that you get to control your destiny.
Right, you can paint the property what color you want. You can make changes to the property the way that you want to make it more marketable. You can make changes to allow it to generate more cash flow, whether that's adding a bedroom or, putting a wall down or expanding the kitchen. All these things that you have direct control over that can indirectly influence that cash flow we were just talking about, that monthly income. So the final advantage of having real estate as the cornerstone of the first investment in your portfolio is really going to be tax advantages. Now, neither Cameron nor myself are tax advisors. We don't portray that we are, and we're not tax experts, but both of us own and invest in real estate and advise others on it. And there are some huge advantages, especially in the current tax code, for property investors that allow you to, write off the interest. They allow you to write off expenses against the income, and it's much more fluid. Being a real estate investor and putting that on your tax return, you're going to pay a lot less tax on that investment than you would if you had the exact same investment in these other non-tax advantaged vehicles like stocks, bonds, and whatnot. So do you have anything to add on the tax advantages?
I think you hit it right on the head. Like you said, neither one of us are tax professionals, and we're not giving tax advice. But I definitely, there are some great tax benefits that come along with investing in real estate. I would highly advise anyone that is thinking about getting into real estate and using real estate as a tax shelter, or for its tax advantages in general, to consult with a CPA and you'll see. And there's a wealth of information online. That can go into all the tax benefits of owning real estate. But there certainly is a lot of them.
And everyone has their own particular financial circumstance, so you definitely want to consult, like you said, with your local tax advisor or tax professional. But with that said, you can understand why we're passionate about real estate, especially real estate in the state of Connecticut right now in 2020, being such a great vehicle to really build out a wealth portfolio and build your wealth, starting with real estate. So hopefully that gives you guys some good value on why this is such a great place to start, and we hope it helps. Take care.